Welcome to Dice Tower Live.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Brian Drake.
I'm not going to be here for most of this video. This is a Q&A with Brian Drake, one of our reviewers. He's in town. He came for the cruise, and now he's also staying. He's going to be doing a magic show at my church this coming Sunday if you happen to be in the Miami area.
Definitely come. It'll be fun.
That's at the First Baptist Church at Cutler Ridge. But he's going to answer your questions here while we're here, and he's making me stay here because he's doing magic.
I'm going to do a quick trick. Hold your hand just like this. Have you ever heard of three-card Monte? It's a thing where they mix cards around. You got to find which one's the Queen of Hearts. So we're going to do it like this here. First card is the King of Diamonds. Do it with this hand.
Okay.
Without looking right now, out of all these cards, put your thumb just like mine. What card is that out of all these cards here that I just showed you?
The King of Diamonds.
King of Diamonds. Now turn it over and make sure. So King of Diamonds, Ace of Diamonds. Now turn it back over. Be perfectly still. This is the move I'm going to show you in slow motion. See how the borders kind of line up?
Right.
I'm going to take this one from you, and I'm going to switch it. Watch here. I'm going to switch the King of Diamonds just like that. I switched it once. I switched it again. Now that's obviously fake, right? I'm obviously just playing around. But if you had to guess right now which one's on top, would you say the King or the 6 is on top?
The King.
Now, most people would say that as well, but if you notice over here in my back pocket, I've got 2 cards.
Well, what do I have? Wait. Okay, so pair of 6s.
Yeah, it's just a little sleight of hand like that. Now, look, I'll show you how it works face up really
You know
fast.
I'm going to go back and watch this later.
I know, yeah, I would hope so. Look, we'll take the Queen of Clubs, stick it towards the middle of the deck somewhere like this. Now, look, this is not the Queen of Clubs, right? We're looking for the Queen of Clubs, so we're going to take it and just like that. She changes. It's crazy.
Now, to clarify, this is not his deck.
This is one of Z's.
This is one of Z's decks that we gave him. He's been shuffling it here with me for the last few minutes, but there is no way on earth that you set that up.
No, I stole it from Z, straight off his desk.
Wow. Alrighty, well that's magic. All right, so now I'm going to pass this computer up to you, and if you have questions for Brian, I'm going to go off because we are getting ready for our Kickstarter, which is launching on Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time. But if you have questions for Brian, go ahead and ask him in the comments. And if no one asks you questions, you just have to make stuff up and talk for a while.
I'm going to read The Great Gatsby to you.
So, there you go. Alrighty.
What was my favorite game during the cruise?
I'll see you guys later.
So my favorite game during the cruise, I thought it was going to be just getting to play some Western Legends in there because currently that's my favorite game right now. But last thing I played was this game called Smartphone Inc. And it was fantastic. It's some of you probably saw it coming from SN and all that stuff, but it's an economic game that involves some area control, but it's one of those games where you get to manipulate your own prices. And anytime you get to manipulate your own prices, I love it. I love any kind of thing where you get to change what you sell something as opposed to someone else doing it for you. I like to manipulate what I'm selling stuff for because then I have control where if I maybe make things go better for me, it's my fault, not someone else's fault. How long have I been a magician? So I got interested at, I was a kid. But I was interested as a kid, but I was about 19. I would just go around campus and do card tricks for people. I would show them how to, I would show them card tricks randomly on my college campus, and they would run out the door screaming, calling me the devil. It was amazing, right? And so that moment of, I got to show people these card tricks turned into, I've got to do some stage stuff. I was a junior high youth pastor at the time, so I would force them to watch my card tricks and watch my stage stuff. And because where were they going to go? They weren't going to go anywhere, right? And so it turned into me doing this for a living. We're on the road about 150, 180 days a year. It's I just saw that question. About 150, 180 days a year, and it's so much fun. We love getting to do it. So like I said, if you want to check out our calendar, it's briandrakeshow.com. You can see kind of where we're going to be to do some of those shows and come see us. Did any particular question, any particular character in Western Legends you like to play as? I like playing as, it's tough because I like playing as White Earp because he's classic. I just watched Tombstone. Actually, playing Western Legends makes me go and watch Western, so I went and watched Tombstone immediately after playing this. And so, just being in that whole world of Westerns and then playing Red Dead Redemption on the PlayStation, it's just all this sort of Western-y stuff is fantastic. But I like playing as Wild Bill. I like playing as, who did I play as the other day? Oh, I played as Buffalo Bill, and he's good at kind of the non-fighting stuff because I know one of the complaints people talk about is if you don't fight, if you don't rob people, somebody's going to run away with the game. And sure, that's the case, but if you hurry up and get out there, you can get that stuff. You can get what you need to get done too. So it's one of those things where I like playing as those though. I do have to say though, I don't have the expansion stuff, the 2 things that came with the Kickstarter. But the workhorse is my favorite thing out of that because it allows you to pick up 2 cattle when you pick up cattle, and it allows you to hold 2 cattle, which is pretty great, and that really changes things a lot. Did I win? This is Carla. This is my wife, Carla. Did I win a single game on the cruise? I did not. You won literally every game that we played. So that's kind of how that works. I love playing games. I play a ton of games. I'm really not that good at any of them, though. Surely there's a good one that I'm actually good at. What's a game that I'm actually good at? Maybe what game? Oh my gosh, I'm not actually good at any game. It just occurred to me. I'm terrible at all the games that I play. Oh, I'm good at Railroad Revolution. That's the one. I'm good at Railroad Revolution. I love that game, and I love just playing it because I'm good at it. And maybe that's not the only reason I like it. I like it because it's a cool worker placement that does some unique stuff there. So, but no, I didn't play that on a cruise. With being on the road that much, how large of a board game collection do you keep? I do keep a pretty big one. Doing reviews and stuff kind of just it stretches it out, a good bit. I keep quite a few games. So we're on the road a good bit, but we do have a house in Alabama, and so all of our we've got a what is it, the 5x5 Calex shelf, and then a smaller 4x3, I think, and those are full. And then there's just a stack of games that either have to go away or have to be put somewhere. You've got to figure out something to do with those. So that's always happening at some point. How or why did you become a Dice Tower reviewer? Well, I love gaming. Like this is I told this story on Board Game Breakfast, maybe you'll find out Monday. But board gaming really reconnected us with some of our best friends, and now we're very close with these people. We get to see them a lot. And then also my friend in Guatemala, he's one of my best friends of all time. He's asking questions on here. Board gaming is one of the things that really it keeps up our friendship too. Even though we live in 2 different countries now, we get to talk about these small little touch points that he's got a shop he can play at in Guatemala City, and we get to talk about the things that cross over. And when he comes to the States, or if I get to go down there, we get to play games and hang out too, amongst other things. So one of the things about why I became a reviewer, though, is it's a creative outlet. Like you can tell, I like to run my mouth, right? We talk about when it comes to our magic show, Carla is definitely the brains of our operation. Many of you who've watched my reviews absolutely know that's the case, that I am not the brains of anything. I'm just the mouthpiece, right? And so Carla is the brains of our operation. I just talk a lot. So it was a creative outlet for me to talk about board gaming, even if nobody was ever going to watch, right? Even if nobody cared, it was just something I could get out, talk about my thoughts about board gaming. And since then, over the 2 years of being, reviewing for the Dice Tower stuff, I've been able to collect my thoughts a lot easier when it comes to that stuff. But it also helps me when I do the marketing and stuff that we do for our ministry and our illusions and all that sort of stuff. Let's see. What's your favorite Western movie? I love Tombstone. I know it's the classic, but what's the one? 3:10 to Yuma was good. I like The Magnificent Seven. I watched, High Noon. High Noon's fantastic, right? I mean, come on. It's one man doing the right thing and the rest of the town cowers. Like, come on, that's a fantastic movie, High Noon. Did you enjoy playing Kingsport Festival if you have played it? I have not played Kingsport Festival, and it's a shame because I love Kingsburg, and if you've seen our reviews, you know that I absolutely love Lovecraft. So you would think it's a natural fit for me to play it, but somehow it slipped. I guess because when I first started getting into gaming, it had come out a little bit before, so it was harder for me to get my hands on, and now it's even harder to get my hands on. Although, didn't they do a card game version of it? Anyway, I want to get my hands on it because I love just the whole idea. Questions. Sorry. Hey, Bryan, thank you for teaching my girlfriend and I Western Legends on the cruise. You were super nice and made it a great experience. Well, thanks so much. I enjoyed playing with y'all, and I still lost because I'm really bad at games, but it was a fun experience altogether. The nicest outlaw I've ever met, though. She was all like, hey, can I just, if I just point this gun at you, will you just kind of give me $10? That'd be cool. I mean, you don't have to, but so there was that. Fun times. Favorite magic movie? Well, there's only a few that do it really justice, I should say. So there's the big 2 that came out when I first started getting into stage magic. That would be The Illusionist and The Prestige. The Prestige was fantastic because it's Christopher Nolan, right? And everything he touches pretty much is gold. And I know there's some people who disagree about like Interstellar and things like that, but I really love The Prestige, right? But there are only a few real classic magic tricks in that movie. The Illusionist, on the other hand, was a more boring movie. It wasn't as good of a movie, but a lot of the stuff in The Illusionist, what was cool about it was actual classic magic tricks, but through the use of movie magic, what they did was, and this is totally my conjecture and opinion, but because I know the tricks were based on real things, I think what they did with that, their mindset as movie makers was, let's make it look like for the audience watching the movie what the audience watching it live would have described it as in the 1800s. So that orange tree that makes an orange, that's a real thing by a guy named Jean-Eugene Robert Houdin. And he made this automaton that would make an orange appear. And I've seen it live in person, and it's such a cool thing to see it actually happen in front of your face like that. So these people would have been super impressed, and they would have talked about it. So what they showed in the movie was the same kind of thing. That same guy, Jean-Eugene Robert Houdin, there's a famous story about him stopping a war in the French Algiers using illusions. Now, it's probably fake, but it's a great story. So look that up. Read the book Hiding the Elephant by Jim Steinmeier. It's amazing. Let's see. What's your favorite type of game to play? As a genre or as a mechanic, it's worker placement all day. I love the idea. And I was talking to somebody about this, so if you like area control, you had Risk growing up. If you like an economic game, you had Monopoly growing up. I know these aren't perfect analogs of all the games out there, but if you liked trivia, you had Trivial Pursuit of kind of the classic social deduction or deduction games. You had Clue, right? But think about this. Worker placement does not have an analog in the classics that I can think of. Now, somebody may be able to come up with one that I missed, but there's not really an analog for worker placement in kind of the classic games. So thinking through those is probably why I like the genre so much, because it's like, okay, I have my engine that I get to do. Oh, actually, to be fair, the subgenre that I like the absolute best is engine building, worker placement, and that's why I think I like Caverna so much. It's because you can make it where your engine and Agricola and all those produces everything you need, and you have no need sometimes to go out to this space ever again because you're over here doing it. And Anachrony, that's what I love about Anachrony. You look at Anachrony from afar, you're like, oh, look at this, is an Amerithrash game, it's crazy. And then you go, oh, wait, no, it's totally a Euro. It's totally worker placement engine building to where you make your city over here better and don't have to go out to the main board quite as much anymore. So engine building, worker placement is my absolute favorite games to play. And then if we're talking genre, probably Lovecraft, because I'm a sucker for it. You can tell I like to run my mouth. That's a great quote from Bryan. It's so true, though, right? Like, I can't stop talking. In fact, it's like Michael Scott. I will start a sentence sometimes without an end point in mind and then just hope that the two meet. It doesn't always work. You've seen my reviews. You know that. How do you deal with extremely competitive gamer? I typically don't I don't play with a ton of competitive gamers. And I guess my personality, some of you guys who met me on the cruise, I'm like this all the time. I'm my high energy level and all that sort of stuff, and I try to make the experience fun. So if somebody's trying to hyper game a little bit, I'll try to diffuse the situation, just make jokes, crack jokes, have a good time. And sometimes you just have to just walk away and be like, I'm never going to play a game with that person again. When you get somebody who does that, whoa, how did you do that? Not because they're curious how you did something in the game, but because in their mind they think you cheated or did something wrong and don't want you to get the points that you go, well, how'd you do that over there? Well, I have this card that lets me do this. Oh, you know what I mean? And that's the first steps of the hyper-competitive gamer, is the how did you do this question. And then it goes into the, kind of just talking trash, not in a fun way. It's fun. Like, if you want to play games, you gotta rib each other a little bit for fun, But people who seriously get angry at that point, why are you playing games? Like, I get it, there's the mental puzzle of wanting to play games, but why are you playing games if you get that angry? Here's my question. So, Drake taking over the Dice Tower headquarters. Time for a coup. I mean, I've already started staking off claims. Look, I'm gonna take this shelf over here and just start putting hair on all the shelves and stuff like that. No, I don't know. We're in town for a couple days and it worked out really good to be here. Any board game apps you enjoy playing? So, I've been bragging on this one, two of these, for a long time because of two reasons. Ironically, one is Twilight Imperium. I wish. One is Twilight Struggle, because, and this is weird, but the computer actually takes time to think. And what I mean by that, there's a bar, or a little box that shows the computer symbol, whoever they're playing, if they're playing the Americans or they're playing the Russians, and it's got a little timer on it that goes around in a circle like this, and when they're going to do their move and that timer ends. And the fact that it has to take, sometimes it takes a good 10, 12 seconds. And think about it, this is an iPad, a computer, Steam, whatever you're playing on, running at really high processing speeds. It takes that long sometimes for that computer to work out all the permutations to figure out what their ideal move is to beat you. And so if you think about it, it's kind of cool the technology has come so far that you can play an opponent who thinks that hard about a game like Twilight Struggle. I mean, that's a game that involves levels of layers of strategy, right? So it's really cool to me to see that. Now, the other one is the exact opposite reason, is Seven Wonders, because you can bang out a game of Seven Wonders on the app in literally 2 minutes. It's boom, pick my card, especially if you know the game. If you know the game Seven Wonders, you can knock out a game of Seven Wonders in 2 minutes. It's really good about that, and I love it. Would you like to be on Penn & Teller's show, Fool Us? I would. I've got some routines that I think would be good on there. The thing about Penn & Teller's Fool Us is they're doing a lot of stuff now where it's, hey, we're doing this trick that you can also buy over at xmagicshop.com. So a lot of it now is kind of slight product placement. I would still love to do it sometime, but I don't know how the casting works anymore, if it's the same as it used to be. I've talked to them in the past, but let's see. From one professional magician who also... Here's hoping we can meet up and have a... I never know how these sentences are going to start. I should probably read them in my head before I read them out loud. But this is going from one professional magician who also loves board games to another. Here's hoping we can meet up and have a jam session someday. Absolutely, Benjamin. Let's make that happen. Find out if we're ever in the same town and we'll make it happen. Get together, do some card tricks and all that sort of stuff. You're my absolute favorite Dice Tower reviewer, except for Z. Z is a good guy. I mean, he let me use his cards after all. He's got heart. Basically, that's right, yeah. Good morning. What if someone rage quits? So this is the best story of all time that happened to us. It's not the best story of all time. There's a lot better stories. But we're playing Twilight Imperium. And you know this is one of my favorite games of all time. And we had some friends over, and they're close friends, so they can get away with this, and we're just going to be like, whatever. But we're 4 or 5, 6 hours into it. It's a 6-player game, and this one person who will remain nameless, we'll just call him James for short to make sure it's anonymity. James is in one spot and he's surrounded by a bunch of us, and all of us are going to take the same action. He just doesn't know it yet. We're all going to invade his space if it comes to us first, right? Based on the initiative. So my brother's playing, and James's best friend Jace is playing, and they are the kind of best friends that will constantly pick on each other, mess with each other, rib each other, right? So Jace has been messing with James the whole time. He moves into that space. James literally throws his cards on the table. This is 4 to 6, I think it's about 5 hours into the game. Throws his cards on the table, yells at Jace, storms out of my house, right? Well, the best part is they drove separately. So we hear him get out there, and then we hear him come back in, open the door. Hey, Jace, move your car. So not only did he rage quit, he had to shamefully walk back in and tell the person he rage quit because of to come move his car for him to leave. It was glorious. Could have happened to a better person. But what do you do if someone rage quits? Yeah. I know you're a fan of Stonemaier games. Have you had a chance to try Wingspan? If so, what are your initial thoughts? I did not get a chance to play Wingspan, and I'm a little bit bummed because it was on the cruise, and it was always being played. So it does look cool, though. I like the idea that it's engine building. I didn't know that. At my first thoughts, I was just kind of looking. I was a little overwhelmed. I was like, well, look at that cool egg tower thing, and then look at the cards. There's so many beautiful cards, and it's Stonemaier games, right? But I got a little overwhelmed by it, so I didn't even pay attention to how it even played. But I saw people playing, and the engine building idea of making stuff better by moving the actions over this way with having cards, and that this resource feeds into this, which feeds into this, which feeds back up into the top. I think that's cool, and it seems kind of simply but good. Oh, one of my other favorite games I played on the cruise, I forgot to mention, was Majolica. Wow, I like that game. I think I like it better than Azul and the new Azul. It's just really cool the way it cascades down and over across, and you can score multiple frames. Now, some people will be like, well, it's just like the other ones. Try it. I think there's room for both in your collection, honestly, because it's different the way it plays. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. Will you be at Dice Tower Con this year, or was the cruise your only large con for that? I would love to. I'd love to be at some of the cons, conventions, and things like that. Dice Tower Cons it's a weird time for us because we're busy in the summer, but I would love to. If I can make it happen, I will be there. Some event, I would love to be there. Just because I love the experience. That was the cool thing. People don't know. Like, I see a lot of comments from people say, borrow Wingspan while you're in the office. I think I will. A lot of people will talk about, I was nervous to talk to somebody and things like that, and I get that because I'm good on stage. 6,000 people doesn't bother me. I love being on stage in front of a crowd that big, but being one-on-one is really actually nerve-wracking for me sometimes. But one of the things I always hear people say is, I don't know how I'll do at cons. I'm kind of socially awkward. I'm nervous. Here's what I noticed about the Dice Tower cruise. every single person was nice to each other. Now, I don't mean nice to me. They were nice to each other. Everybody got along in that game room of tight. It was tight in that room because there were so many tables in there, but everybody got along. Everybody was nice. So if you're nervous about going to a con, go to a Dice Tower con. They are fantastic for the way people treat each other and are nice to each other and friendly and say, hey, would you like to play a game? Oh, no, that's no problem at all. No one seems to mind. It's really good. So make sure to check that out if you can. Let's see. How do you come to terms with never winning? So this is Andy. Andy always beats me at any kind of economic game. How do you come to terms with never winning games? I don't. I'm just really bad at games, and I'll never live it down, I guess. It is my goal, though. If we're playing and I can beat Andy in a game, I know I've succeeded somewhat, because Carla always beats me, no matter what we play. Jordan typically will beat us. Jordan's one of the ones, this is Andy's wife, she'll come from the back and just destroy us, and we're like, where did you get those points from? You know what I mean? But, Andy, you rascal. No. Okay, so have you had a chance to play Crusaders Thy Will Be Done? If so, do you prefer the plastic or wooden bits? That's a very specific question. I have not. I haven't even seen that. Send me. I'm going to have to go look that up because it sounds kind of cool. But if you want to know between plastic or wooden bits, I like Terra Mystica better than I like Gaia Project, even though I think the plastic bits look better. I like the feel of the wooden bits in that. So maybe it's the same sort of thing. I don't know. If it's nicely like sculpted plastic bits, I like those better. Who was your favorite cartoon character and why is it Johnny Bravo? That happens every once in a while. I'll get things like, hey, you look like, I used to wear my hair, like all this wasn't, I used to have side hair and it was all be up and I would get like Wolverine or Jimmy Neutron or Johnny Bravo. But to answer your question, it is definitely probably either Droopy Dog or Roger Rabbit. I know that he's only in a one and done, but still, but smarter. I appreciate that, Angel. I'm a smarter Johnny Bravo. That's good. Let's see. Borrow Wingspan. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can slip Wingspan out of here. There's a bunch of games over there. I'm going to try to slip out of here too. Who's my favorite designer? That's tough, man. Like, I really like Rosenberg a lot. I like Jamie Stegmaier. His name is not Stegmaier. I like Jamie Stegmaier. Gosh, if you ask me right this minute, I'm going to say Rosenberg and Stegmaier probably are my favorite two. Where if you go, hey, here's a new game coming from them. Oh, I love Wallace. I love Drover. Ugh, it's so tough because there's so many good games that I do love. Those are my kind of four right now. Those four. So I know you asked favorite, but those are four. So I really like those four. What about Now You See Me? So the Now You See Me movies were cool, but there was a lot of things in them that was like, okay, that was totally just movie magic. Like standing up and throwing the handcuffs onto the other person. You can't do that. Cause think about it logistically. Even if you were able to quick escape from handcuffs, and you can't throw them that accurately to land around somebody's wrist and tie them into it. So, and you got to be smug like Jesse Eisenberg, and no one can be that smug in real life. I don't think. Although some would say I am, but I'm not. Did you get seasick on the cruise? Actually, no. I did do the thing, though, where I'm moving today a little bit. Well, yesterday especially, where I'm kind of just, I'll be there, and every once in a while I'll just kind of move like this. I feel it in my body still where the ship is rolling. But the ship is so big, you don't feel it as bad as you do in like a smaller ship. It just holds so many people that it's not that bad. Hello from Belgium. I'm at work, but hey, thanks. One-on-one is the hardest. Absolutely, it really is, because I'm really good at listening to you, though. If you talk to me, I can look you in the eye, but when it's my turn to talk, I start just, yeah, absolutely. And it's weird how that happens. You can feel it change instantly when it's my turn to talk. The attention just breaks. It's a psychological thing. But the act of listening, and sometimes it freaks people out when you actively listen and you make eye contact, but a lot of people, that really makes them feel like you're actually listening and drawing them in. So. What do you think about the? What do you think about numbering a series of board games like Quintet Games does? Is it a useless habit just for collectors and so on, or is it just a marketing move? So this one we were talking about the other day. It's cool for people who want to collect them, but what if you don't like at all number 12 or number 14? So you're going to collect a game just because it's that number on your shelf, because you're a collector. So, and I think part of the marketing department goes, hey, they're going to buy it for that reason. And if it works, great. But if you're not putting out good games there, then it's not. That's a weird one for me, to where I don't think it's necessary. Like, I wouldn't do it if I was doing a company, which I'm definitely not. I wouldn't do numbered games for that reason. Now, unless you're doing a series, like an actual, like Great Designer series with Stronghold is a little different because it's not meant to pick up all of them. It's almost like the numbering's for them. Like, hey, this is number 7 in our Great Designer series. It's not an order, it's not a list. It's like, hey, this is the 7th one we've done with the great designers. If you like this designer, well, boom, you need to pick up this game because they're a great designer. So that's Carlos texted me things about what I'm saying and not saying. So that's what I think about numbering series. It can be useful, but other times it's just kind of. So when you tried Charterstone, did you play it as 2-player with Automa or no Automa? People seem to strongly suggest you need Automa at that player count. We didn't. We played it 4-player. We played 4-player, and we just used the 4-player. The rules for when you don't have a 5 and 6 player, you just add a building every single time to those 2 areas. We did not play with Automa. I'm really not sure how to say that. I don't think I'm saying it right anyway. I've never played with Automa in any of his games, actually. And there was another game. What was it? Lisboa that came with it. Somebody else has used the factory, and I thought that was cool. But I've never used it just because I feel like I would forget. I have a bad habit when I'm playing Descent or Imperial Assault solo, to where I know you're supposed to do the non-friendly rule where you're supposed to be meaner to yourself, but I have a hard time parsing out what's the meanest thing to do to myself. So we never have played with it for that reason, because I don't know if I'd get it right. Definitely, I'm going to back off on that one, Sean. I was going to give an answer, then I was like, you know what? Oh, man. Man. Do we storm vertical or horizontal? I storm vertical because most of them are on tight shelves and they don't ever fall out. There is inevitably that time, though, where I open a game like, what happened here? Why is this like this? And I go, oh, yeah, that's right. You store them vertical. What's the best board game experience you had? Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, I'm going to skip one because this is one I want to answer. Question: have you played Tricarion? If so, does it feel meta for you? It does. I did a review on Tricarion on how much I loved the game being set in that world with all the tricks, all the cards and things like that are actual tricks. Some of them are not. Some of them are kind of, there's the transported man from the Prestige, but most of them are based on actual tricks. I taught Tricarion on the cruise. We played a good 2.5 hours, not because the game's that long, but because I didn't remember how to play. And about the last 5 minutes of the game, we played it right, dead on. Everything was perfect, so that was a really fun experience. But favorite board game experience? Okay, I'll tell you, somebody just reminded me, actually. My favorite board game experience was probably Time Stories 1. Man, that moment. I'm not going to spoil anything, but that moment when we all just jumped up from our chairs like, that worked, it was crazy. And then shortly after, we made the really bad decision, and then we just retconned it like we didn't make the bad decision, if you know what I mean, if you played Time Stories 1 on that. We're like, yeah, we should do that. And then we're like, oh, we shouldn't have done that. I was surprised that the latest Time Stories module wasn't on your top 5 this past year. I thought you said it was your favorite. So somebody asked me that on my video too. I think what happened was either the dating in Board Game Geek was wrong, or I just missed it, because I really loved that. That was so much fun. But I think that's what happened. I think the dating was not, if it wasn't wrong, it was just me overlooking it, not thinking about it, because in my mind I was avoiding expansions, and when I saw that, in my mind it was still an expansion. But I guess technically those aren't really expansions, because it's its own game, but you just have to have the console to plug the cartridge into, if that makes sense. So I did love it, though. Very much loved it. I'm sitting in trick class right now, but instead of this, because your wife said you were talking about when are we going to get into Cthulhu session. So we play Call of Cthulhu as well, and that's a really fun experience to play the RPG Call of Cthulhu, just because it's classic. And we need to do that. No, I didn't. My problem is I start to read questions out loud before I think about it. It wasn't not that I didn't want to answer. This is not the place to talk about that, obviously. No, I understand. I understand what you're saying there. I'll start reading it before I read the end of the sentence. Like, so, yeah. Really enjoy is very hard to get to the table because your game group doesn't enjoy it. Cosmic Encounter. So what game that you really enjoy is very hard to get to your table because your game group doesn't enjoy it? Cosmic Encounter. I really like Cosmic Encounter. Carla does not enjoy Cosmic Encounter. And then 6 other people I know Yeah, 6 other people I know for a fact do not enjoy Cosmic Encounter, and so it's really tough to get that game to the table. Now, there's a separate group of some guys who like to play it as well, but it's tough to get me. Yeah, see, Carl answered it for me right there. Cosmic Encounter is the game that's tough to get to the table because of that. Best Star Wars movie. Okay, so do we go there? I'm a little nervous about this one because I'm in the camp of didn't enjoy Episode 8, but I'm in the camp of didn't enjoy Episode 8 before I even got online and heard that I was either supposed to love it as the greatest movie of all time or hate it as the worst movie ever produced. Like, there was things in the theater I was like, I just don't like that. I don't like that hugs joke. Didn't like that at all, you know? But best to me is probably Empire. I know that's the answer you're supposed to give, but you know what? The one I'd rather watch the most is probably Jedi, even though it's the least popular of the original trilogy. But as a kid, it was the most fun, right? And for all its faults, the first movie I ever saw at midnight in 1999 was Episode 1. And the rest of the movie has a lot of issues, right? Like, this is pod racing, all that sort of stuff, but you can't top it for lightsaber fights. Hands down, that's one of the greatest lightsaber fights of all time. I know there's only 8, but it's fantastic. Seeing that Darth Maul and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, that was just so good to watch, especially at midnight as a kid. It was really fun. Let's see. Do you have other hobbies than board games? So we love college football. I don't know where you're from. A lot of the people on here, I see a lot of people from Belgium and different places, but college football is a humongous thing for us because we're from Alabama. Except this year we lost to Clemson, but you know what? We got outplayed and outcoached. So I like college football. You know, doing Magic and keeping up with Magic, it's a job now, so it doesn't even count as a hobby. But board gaming is pretty big for us. I played some video games too. I played some Red Dead Redemption and things like that. So it's and I'm a dad of two little girls. So we have a 5-year-old tomorrow. She'll be 5 tomorrow, and a 7-month-old. She'll be 7 months in 4 days. So we have a good little split there, and they keep us very busy as well. So we love them. They're awesome. Some of you have seen Harper, my oldest, in our Gold Fever review, and I think Ella was on a HeroClix review one time just to throw on camera. This year will be released the last and final expansion for War of the Ring named Kings of the Middle-earth. Do you think these really big games need further expansions considering their weight? So, yes and no. Only if here's the thing: need an expansion. I don't know that a ton of games need an expansion in foresight. And in hindsight, you can say, oh, that needed an expansion. For instance, Champions of Midgard. How many people thought Champions of Midgard needed an expansion until Valhalla came out and they went, this is it. This is what the game needed. No longer am I just getting rid of my dice. I'm being rewarded for getting rid of my dice. So, does it need one? We'll have to wait and find out if it needed it. But I know that if Twilight Imperium comes with one, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to get it no matter what, just because you call it a completionist attitude on those kind of games. But I remember when I got TI3, I went and sought down both expansions. They were out of print at the time, both expansions, because they were they had 7th and 8th players. Now, have I ever played with 8 players? No, but I liked some of the new technology and the things that those expansions add into the game as modules. So, will Kings of Middle-earth have modules that you can add in that you don't have to play all of them? Maybe so, and we'll see. I'm not familiar with it. What theme or IP would you want to see a game made? Also, who designs it? So, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Westerns, we got Western Legends, hasn't been done a lot. I would love to see some more Victorian era Magic. I love that kind of stuff, and I think you could do some really great games based on it. I think worker placement is the right way to go for that. So Tricarion kind of already scratches that itch, but I would love to see another worker placement game in the West. So I haven't played Carson City, so this might be exactly what I'm looking for, but a worker placement in the West. Who designs it, though? So I feel like it'd be a little too engine-y to have Rosenberg. I would like to see Victor Peter, I always get his first name and last name backwards. Victor Peter, the designer of Anachrony and Tricarion. I would like to see him do a Western game. He does a lot of themes that are very, kind of cerebral, and so you've got Anachrony, you've got Tricarion, and Cerebria, so they're kind of big, high concept games. In fact, the art in Anachrony is very reminiscent of things like Dune in the 1980s sci-fi, and I love that. But I would love to see him tackle. I would like to see a Western from him. That would be really fun. Or I'm trying to think of any other let's stick for that as my answer. And as I keep thinking, I'm sure it'll come up. Something else will come, but that's what I'm thinking right now. Western, designed by Peter Victor. I think it's Victor Peter. Sorry. When it comes in my email, it flips it from what's on the box, and so my mind gets confused on that. Thank you, Mr. Photoka. Let's see. Message retract. You can retract messages? I didn't even know you could do that. I haven't played Monster Slaughter, but I saw it at the cruise and it seemed cool, so I haven't played that. I'd love to see a G.I. Joe miniatures game. Thoughts? Yeah, that would be really fun, actually. Some of the 80s IP like that, G.I. Joe. It'd be tough to pull off 18 because remember, when people watched 18, yeah, there was a little tongue-in-cheek in it, but it was like for instance, when you watch 69 Batman, there was tongue-in-cheek in it, but kids, there was a whole generation of kids who grew up with that as their Batman, right? And so G.I. Joe doesn't have that corny appeal. What I mean is I would love to see kind of those 80s IPs. That would be fun, though. I'm trying to think how you could do it tons of different ways, but I would love to say, okay, we gotta read that. Proof for Tom that you're doing a great job. That's funny. Thank you, Mr. Photoka. Proof for Tom that you're doing a great job. Are y'all just retracting messages now just to retract messages? No. Never mind. I understand what's happening. Sorry. Just reviewed Monster Slaughter. G.I. Joe miniatures game. Yeah, William, I would like to see that as well. I think that would be cool. Done as you could do it tactical, or you could do it. Oh, speaking of that, Emerson's doing Metal Gear Solid. That's one of my favorite games of all time. So I can't wait to see how that's going to turn out. But you could do a G.I. Joe on a small scale like that, where you have Snake Eyes sneaking around, or you could have kind of a bigger scale battle. You know, that would be fun. What was the Double Dragon and all that stuff? And like we were talking about on. There's some games coming out that are supposed to be like SNES beat 'em ups. I'd love to see that kind of thing too. What's the best kids board game you've played with your family? So Harper really likes Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters. Now she's like me, smart kid. I'm not saying I'm smart. I'm saying she is smart kid, but she's a little. She's funny, like she's wild. So getting her to sit down and play the game of Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters, she likes it. Tiny Park is probably my favorite though, because it's in that genre of Baron Park and the Rosenberg tile laying games, where you're trying to fill out your board and complete tiles, but it's done in a really simple way where you're rolling 5 dice and they have symbols on them, and what's on the top of the stacks of the tiles, so the Tetra-shaped tiles, it might have 3 octopus-shaped rides. You're making a theme park, 3 octopus-shaped rides or something like that. You roll the dice, and whatever you end up with is what you can take out of the tableau and you fill out your boards. I like that one as a kid's game. It's really fun. We played Ice Cool too. I mean, Ice Cool is fantastic. My wife and I just moved to Alabama from California. Do I need to choose Auburn or Alabama? Yeah, you got to choose Bama, or we're going to kick you out of the state. I know my friends would disagree, but no, I'm just kidding. Awesome. So, hey, welcome to Alabama. Some would explode into a fit of rage, and they would also quit Twilight Imperium at the same time. You need to play Carson City. It's great if you like interaction. See, I do like interaction, and I really like so much stuff in a big box. Yeah. So I saw it on the cruise, and I never did play it, but I want to play a worker placement in the West, and I keep hearing that you can like push somebody else off of a spot too, which is pretty sweet. So I do want to get my hands on Carson City and get that thing played. How do you handle players who wait to the very last minute to think about the move they're going to make? Some players will talk to you during everybody's turn, and then when it's their turn, they're like, hold on. I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. You can't do that. You gotta. If you're going to talk, we're going to talk. Yeah, when that person, and again, we'll keep this anonymous. We'll call him James to be anonymous. When it's their turn to think and it's their turn to play, they might mix those two together and wait until that moment. But yeah, it's frustrating sometimes. Speaking of video games, do you think there will be a board game for the Kingdom Hearts series, if you know the Kingdom Hearts course? I hope so. I'm trying to think. We got a Final Fantasy card game, right? So someone can get the IP to a Final Fantasy, but you're dealing with what, Squaresoft and Disney at that point, so it might be a little tricky to get both IPs, but that would be a great miniatures game in my opinion. I would love to see a great miniatures game done with Kingdom Hearts. You could do a card game, but I just personally prefer a board game than a card game. But you could do it Mechs versus Minions style, where it's not Mechs versus Minion where you're doing programming, but where you're doing a kind of a 1 versus Mini, or even a 1 versus an app sort of thing. But then you're getting into crazy technology rights and stuff like that. But a 1 versus Mini would be cool. where someone plays the bad guy and you kind of send these characters to fight, Cloud and Mickey Mouse. It'd be fun. Let's see. Instead of a hat, you actually use your hair to make exactly, yeah, the hair is my hat. Like, I could just pick it up and take it off. I can't. That's unfortunate. I mean, if you can see the hard part there. What magic trick was the hardest to learn? Also, which one have you always wanted to do? Explain, because we don't know it that well. So, magic trick that was the hardest to learn is, honestly, it's the stuff I start my show with. It's card manipulation. And I've been doing, sorry Z, I just licked my fingers. It's the stuff I've been doing my entire life, basically, since I was a kid, where you're taking cards and you vanish them in midair and you produce them. But that kind of stuff to me is some of the hardest, because it's an actual legit skill. And so I'm not bragging on me, I'm bragging on the fact that whoever invented the idea of card manipulation is brilliant, right? I mean, just doing this in the air is fantastic. I love the way it looks, but it's hard. It's a real skill that's hard. So a lot of the mentalism that we come up with, and Carla writes most of the stuff for our show. She comes up with the new tricks that we do. So if you were on the Dice Tower cruise the last night, we did that kind of prediction thing. Carla came up with that idea like 5 minutes before we walked downstairs, and I was like, oh yeah, let me run back upstairs and grab these other games. And so really good ideas. But the mentalism stuff, so it says, which one have you always wanted to do? There's a levitation called the Azra levitation. It's the most beautiful trick, in my opinion, of all time. And we don't even do big stage illusions anymore. But you have someone lay down on a kind of a table. You put a cloth over them. They start to levitate, right? Levitating into the air, a good 2-3 feet over the performer's head. Well, then, right at the crescendo, you reach up and you grab the cloth and they vanish in midair. It is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. If you look up Azra levitation and look up Dekolta chair, Dekolta, gorgeous routines. They're very similar. But I've always wanted to do this, and this summer was a chance we're going to be doing the Dekolta chair. So look that up. It's really fantastic. So which one have you always wanted to do? Those are the two I've always wanted to do right there. Favorite style, genre of music. So my favorite band is Need to Breathe. I love that kind of, it's not country, it's not country at all, but it's not alternative either, but it's definitely not top 40. I don't even know what it's kind of alt indie sort of stuff, so like Need to Breathe, Mumford & Sons, that sort of a sound, that sort of feel is my favorite type of music. Currently, I grew up loving like DC Talk and Newsboys. I still love some Newsboys though. I like rock, I like rock. Do you have a favorite style, genre of music? Oh, that was the same. Sorry. Opinion on Hurts going to Oklahoma. I'm really upset about that, actually. So I don't want to play them, actually. I don't want to play them again next year. So hopefully we'll win out and we won't have to play them, and they'll be like number 3 or number 1, and then we won't have to worry about it. But because, man, that's a good guy. Talk about class right there. Staying with the team after losing your spot because you want to be better and not just getting bitter and leaving. That's class. Favorite food. Wow. I love a good steak. I love Indian food. Some masala, some butter chicken. Oh, that's good. But if you're like, hey, we've got 17,000 restaurants in town, but we've got a great Mexican restaurant and everything else is just as good, let's go to the Mexican restaurant. I love Mexican food. So much. And getting to travel a lot, we get to have some food all over the country. So I love eating Mexican food anywhere else we go. So with Texas and California, places like that, it's so good. Also, there's a place in the LA area. It does shabu shabu, which is I think it's Japanese. What's the word where you put the fondue? Is basically what it is. That's what they bill it as, kind of out there, because they do chocolate fondue out there as well. You get your chopsticks and your raw meat and your raw vegetables, and they give you some sort of a boiling broth to swish it. It's shabu shabu apparently means swish. You take your very wafer thin meat, wafer thin. You take it and you swish it through. It's fantastic. It's so good. But there's a couple places out in LA that do that, and I love a good greasy cheeseburger as well. I mean, come on. But have you ever played role-playing games? Have any old memorable characters? So I'm usually the one. Keeper is what they call it in Call of Cthulhu. That's my favorite one to play. We've played it, and we've played some of the Fantasy Flight Rebellion, Star Wars ones, but Call of Cthulhu is really fun. Not even because of the Cthulhu theme, but because you're a librarian or you're an antiquarian. You're not like, two fists, guns ablazing, even though I like the fights in it. It's more about I'm in the library researching what could possibly be here. Let me roll and see if I found something in the library. I like that sort of stuff, If you're from England, I apologize for that accent. It was the worst. It actually existed as a CCG. Okay, so it actually existed as a CCG, Kingdom Hearts, but really not a great game in my opinion. I hope someone will bring Justice and cool minis. That would make a great minis game, no doubt. How do you deal with someone who always says there'll be a game night but always bails at the last minute? You shame them. You publicly shame that person constantly and say, why weren't you at game night? Are you not a good friend? Are you a terrible person? I think it means you're a terrible person, have no moral standing or grounding. No, you don't do that, obviously. Just, do your thing. Please describe. I started doing it again. I don't know. Please describe the feeling being this handsome and part of the board gaming community. I'm gonna take that as jest because I look in the mirror and know what's up. Now, again, the term "better half" for your wife is very accurate when it comes to my family. So, hey Max, good to see you, buddy. Great to see you. I'm not seeing you, but you know what I mean. I see your name there and stuff. Great band, thank you. Not that I have any stake in the game, but so thought on Battlestar Galactica, the board game. I have played it once and I liked it the time I played it, but the last time anybody in my circle played it, something really funny happened. Andy, you saw him comment earlier about my losing streak at board games. He was the one setting up the game, and he accidentally made it where, I think it was a 5-person game, and whatever the number is, I'm not sure on the numbers or what's supposed to be right, but it was one wrong in the favor of the Cylons. So it was either 2 Cylons and a helper, to where there was only, it was 5 people playing and 2 people ended up being the good guys and 3 people ended up being the bad guys. And they didn't realize it till a good hour and a half, 2 hours into the game. And so Andy was like, I found out, but I wasn't going to tell anybody. I was just going to finish the game out. And so when it was revealed, I think one guy left. Now, he was going to leave anyway, but he blames it on rage quitting. He didn't. But I think it's a fun game. My biggest gripe with it is that you get one action. That drives me crazy, just moving one space or doing one thing. I think that's the tricky part. What's your most anticipated game to get a hold of this next year? Batman. I did Kickstart Batman. I am beyond excited to get my copy of Batman in. I'm super, super, super excited about that and going to play the mess out of it. I'm going to force my friends to play with me on that one, even if they don't like it. What are your thoughts on the character? Where did the lighter fluid come from? It's one of my favorite bits. Joe from Arrested Development, the song Final Countdown. A lot of times when we're sound checking, people will put on the Final Countdown for that reason. Old Newsboys or New Newsboys or New Newsboys, right? I like the Peter Furler era, but I do like some Michael Tate now, being a DC Talk fan. DC or Marvel? Already know the answer. Definitely a DC guy all day long, right? I love Man of Steel. I think Man of Steel is a fantastic movie, and the score is amazing. Why did Justice League switch from Hans Zimmer to Danny Elfman? I'll never know, and I blame you, Joss Whedon, for that, because you're watching. I blame you for that. Why would you do that? But the score in Man of Steel was fantastic. It carried over a little bit to Batman, Superman. Those 2 movies can be highly debated upon. Personally, I don't feel they deserve their Rotten Tomatoes score. Do I think they deserve 70s, 80s, 90s? No, but I think you could probably give them a bump of 20 points. Now, where does that land them? Not that high still, but come on. Aquaman, really fun though. Wonder Woman, fantastic. But as far as comics, Jeff Johns, Scott Snyder, I love reading DC Comics. Are you backing anything on Kickstarter right now? Just Batman, because I'm really excited about that. He's such a hardcore Marvel fan. Soy, you're such a troll. Can we kick Soy Taylor out here? No, I'm kidding. What game got you into the hobby? I think it was actually Ticket to Ride. Carl and I bought Ticket to Ride because we'd seen Tabletop. We were kind of in that era of people who got into the hobby because of early Tabletop series through Soy, the guy I just asked to kick out of here. So we started talking about board games. We picked up Ticket to Ride, played it, loved it, and then our friends Andy and Jordan, they kind of reconnected with us. They came over and brought, I think, 7 Wonders and maybe Splendor or something like that over the house, and we're like, this is amazing. There's these games that do other things, and it was like way down the rabbit hole. That's what this was a rabbit hole. It's not a good example, but that's what it was. Do you paint any miniatures for your game? Absolutely do. I paint. I'm still really slow about painting Mansions of Madness, but almost all my heroes in Mansions of Madness are painted. All my Imperial Assault was painted multiple times over, and then I would end up selling it and then painting some more and stuff like that. Painted my buddy's Blood Rage. I think I'm missing one of his still to paint, and I'm going to paint Batman when it comes in. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I painted. Oh, I painted my Railways of the World little in-city markers. I made them look like, I painted the skull of the cow looks like a skull now, and the rocks look like rocks with a nice wash. So, someone is turning a little red. Yeah, exactly right. Did you ever get around to playing God of War? Just beat Spider-Man. It's amazing. I did not. play. It's amazing when I did not play God of War yet. My buddy James let me borrow it. I mean, my buddy who we'll call James for anonymous reasons let me borrow it, and I still have not played it. But I did love Spider-Man, and I really love Red Dead Redemption. But I want to get around to playing what you call it. How do you get people? DC, I'm out. Oh, I know, right? It's so there's a lot of hate. Scythe is a great game too. Favorite game of all time, stuff like that. Oh, a painted scythe. Yeah, that's what she's saying. That's Carla. See, I told you, Carla keeps me straight. Painted scythe, and it looks, in my opinion, it looks really good. I like the way it looks. In this moment, while I'm waiting on a few more questions here, I'm going to drink some water. I talk too fast, so I don't stretch out the questions long enough, or people are like, nope, I'm out. One of the two. So we got about 10 minutes left. I want to make sure we get any more questions out there. If you have a question, ask it right now. I'm going to drink water for another second here. Just like that. It was very fun, though. The cruise was incredibly fun. I had a good time with that. So, I did paint side years. Did you get the metal figures for Scythe? I did not get the metal figures for Scythe only because I don't want to repaint them, and I'm not sure, other than being metal, what that would add to it. In fact, it might even make it a little harder to paint. I painted some metal figures. The DC Miniatures game, I painted some of those just to have. And the metal ones, it's like the primer wouldn't take on them. So I don't know if there's a special metal primer that I don't have, but the primer wouldn't take, and I had to have that and sprayed it on there and all that sort of stuff, and it just would still kind of fall off. So I did not get them, but I might look into it still. But I just know that was, did we put that on our top games of this year, the expansion for that? Because that was really good, the Scythe expansion with all the stuff. Derek's in here now, so I can't spoil it because it's fantastic. I don't want to. Oh, did you play it all the way through?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I didn't want to spoil it if it is. Then I won't spoil it for y'all, but man, I really like that. Let's see. Have you not played Street Masters? If not, why? No, I saw it get played the other day, and I was like, this looks great. It looks like Street Fighter or Final Fight or oh, here we go, or Combat Tribes or Streets of Rage or let's see if I can keep going. Hold on, there's several. I'm trying to think. What was the other one where you could play as the robot or the baby? What was that one called? It was like a baby in a mech. It was, gosh, I've got it on my SNES Classic, and I cannot think of what it is now. It'll come to me in a minute here. Combat Tribes. Nope, it's gone. Are you excited for Western Legends Ante Up as I am? Absolutely, especially after watching Tombstone and Deadwood, and they're always playing Pharaoh. I was like, what is Pharaoh? In fact, there's a specific card shuffle called a Pharaoh Shuffle that I had no clue was based on the card game Pharaoh at the time. It's that where you weave the cards together. It's a very hard thing to do, but it looks really pretty, and it's a very even 100% weave like that, so you get a good mix. Any thoughts on the fact that the house is infected by scorpions? Wait, there's scorpions here?
Oh, yeah.
What is that? Why would you not tell me that until just now? Like, come on. That's terrifying.
Why do you think I'm leaving? No.
Yeah, I was like, I'm out of here. You need to wash them first. Oh, okay, so you got to wash them first and do a little metal primer. I wondered about that. Thoughts on the upcoming modular board for Scythe? So I'm not really sure on that because I haven't looked into it a ton. I know it's probably going to let you do the things that the expansion does, but is it going to let you change the areas, the home areas and stuff like that? Or is it more like changing the resource areas? I need to go look into that. Captain Commando is another great one. Yeah, absolutely. I'm still trying to think. Maybe that was the one with that was the one where you can be the baby in the mech. That was it. Thank you. Metal figures have a release agent on them. Gotcha. Oh, how do you beat your wife in an auction game? Never stood a chance at the Raccoon Tycoon. I can't. Carla, I've never beat her in an auction game, and really, that's not a skill. It's not like I'm good at auctions. She just always destroys us. She destroyed us at the beer one, Oktoberfest, and then murders us at Raccoon Tycoon. Also absolutely murders us at the cell phone one, even though it's not an auction game. Like, we were like, oh, I've got 190 points. This is good. She's like, I got 280 points. I was like, that's disgusting. What are some other things that you did to get to do on the cruise other than gaming? Never been on a cruise before. So the food is fantastic. If you like food, or if you don't like food, the food is fantastic. There's a giant rock wall on the ship, really fun. Climbed that rock wall. My kids had a blast playing in the splash pad and the big water slides and all that sort of stuff. Didn't do any excursions this time. A lot of cool things you could have done though. But if you've never gone on a cruise, if you've never if you've ever wanted to go on a cruise and if you've ever wanted to go on a gaming convention, this is the one to go to. Oh my gosh. Because you don't have to go, hey, crud, how much does that cost at that restaurant? I don't want to go out and eat that. I'm in the middle of this game. You just go, hey, I want all the lobster. Bring me all the lobster you have. And it's like, I'm concerned that what you heard was I want a lot of lobster. But what I meant was bring me all the lobster you have. It's kind of that moment is what happens on the cruise. You can do that. And so it's really fun. Plus a lot of fun people in games. Let's see. We got about 5 minutes left, so I don't want to, I ran on that one a little faster. Let's see. Have they taken you to the creepy shed yet? Is there a creepy shed here too, along with scorpions? No! Yeah. What I feel like this will be the last time you ever see Brian Drake on the Dice Tower because I'm never making it out of Miami or Florida here, or Homestead, wherever we are.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What were you thinking when you were driving out here? As we see how remote this place is?
Oh, I did. I saw this. There's a giant, not to give away, to dox the location, but there's a giant field and then massive palm trees. I was like, where am I? Like, it's remote. But it does look nice with the giant dice tower, like with people's, like that's where Derek's office is on top of the dice tower. It's amazing. You guys gotta come see this. It's fantastic. Let's see. Please do more Q&As. You're great. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. My wife also likes when I describe her as disgusting. So I meant her beating us was disgusting, not her as disgusting. Thank you. Good catch on that. Yeah, I will do that. I'll check out that link to the email to the Crusaders. I will be done. We got about 4 minutes left. What else you got? I want to hear. I'm gonna hold my watch like this until the next 4 minutes. How close was Australia to making your best list of 2018? I don't know. Like, I want to play it a couple more times before I decide if it's how much I like. Because I like Martin Wallace. I love Cthulhu. I love trains. I like the mechanics in that game. I like the way it played. The only thing, and I think I might have mentioned it in that kind of pre-review thing, was that it was a little slow at fighting the monsters because you would have to draw a card, and if it didn't work on that one, you have to draw another card and then draw another card. But I want to play it a couple more times to get some more thoughts on it. But the Stronghold version looks fantastic compared to what I was looking at when I originally did that original version. So it looked good on the table, but it's fun. Any pointers for beginner mini painter? Go check out that Sarastro guy's channel. He does some fantastic, easy to do painting, and it's like magic. When you paint like stormtroopers, you prime them white, and then you put this, you paint their eyes, you paint their guns and their hands, kind of a dark gray black, and then you put this Nuln Oil wash on there, and it's like magic. It just fills in all the cracks, and it looks like they just come to life. Then you kind of have to highlight them after that. Have they shown you the possessed mannequin? What is going on in this place here? And I feel like none of these are just stray references. I feel like there is somewhere in this house a mannequin now. It's terrifying.
There is.
Great! This is fantastic. What's the worst board game you played? Period ever? Oh gosh, what was that one that I absolutely hated and I just wanted to get rid of? There have been several that we just quit midway through. We're just like, ugh. I'm gonna have to think on that for a minute. What's your workout routine? I do. There's a website I follow called Kino Body. It's kind of about getting stronger, fitness, and all that sort of stuff. I gained some weight on the cruise, that's for sure. But I used to be a lot heavier. I used to be about 80 pounds heavier. And about 9 years ago, I lost that weight, and I've tried to keep it off ever since and put on muscle and things like that. So, just being in the gym and lifting and lifting smart to where you're putting on muscle as well as what they call myofibrillar muscle, which is the actual fibers that make you have actual strength, versus the aesthetic muscle, which is sarcoplasmic, which looks like you get the rounded peaks and all that sort of stuff. That comes from sarcoplasm, but you need both. If you're interested, you need both. If you want to do that, you don't need anything. But I'm saying if you're interested in it, that's the thing. Have you played Nemesis? No, but it looks amazing. It looked really, really good. I like these two. Nothing like Dead of Winter. That's kind of like Dead of Winter. Your arms are hairy, so I'm guessing you don't manscape. Why did I read that out loud? I have no filter where I just had to read every comment. I'm a little hairy. Yeah, I'm a little hairy. No manscaping here. On that note, thanks for. Yeah, I do play as purple, and we'll end it on that. My favorite color to pick in board games is purple. Carla plays green because she says green wins games. So. On that note, thank you for letting me come hang out and do some Dice Tower Q&A. Make sure to check out all the Kickstarter stuff coming later on today. It's going to be fantastic in 2019. I don't know. I don't have any proprietary information. I just know. This goes live Monday? Or what? That goes live Monday. Later on Monday. But I don't have any proprietary information other than it's going to be an awesome year because the people behind this who do this, fantastic, awesome stuff. So I love being on this today and having a good time with y'all. Thanks for watching it and enduring all my crazy eccentricities. So until next time, I'll see you. Make sure to follow my game stuff at The Latest Retro. It's where I post all the stuff that's going up on the Dice Tower too. So we'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.